Dan and Dave in the console, royal tears. Trump declared king, crowds wild with cheers. Libertarians fuming, smoke out both ears. Blue-haired ladies screaming back through years. Came to party, dance on the throne. Kingdom in chaos, anarchist glow. Mad at the monarchy, fury well known. Turning the castle to a libertarian zone. Flag waves high, freedom's torch bright. Knights of debauchery, conquered without a fight. Enemies scorn, throwing shading light. Dan and Dave, new order upstart knights. Came to party, dance on the throne. Kingdom in chaos, anarchist grow. Mad at the monarchy, fury well known. Turning the castle to a libertarian zone. Blue-haired sirens, chants won't tire. Liberty songs sing loud within fire. Rebellion spark, never expire. From crown to dust, ideals inspire. Came to party, dance on the throne. Kingdom in chaos, anarchists grow. Mad at the monarchy, fury well known. Turning the castle to a libertarian zone. Flag waves high, freedom's torch bright. Knights of debauchery, conquered without a fight. Enemies scorn, throwing shade ain't light. Dan and Dave, new order upstart knights. Flag waves high, freedom's torch bright. Knights of debauchery, conquered without a fight. Enemies scorn, throwing shade ain't light. Dan and Dave, new order upstart knights. Came to party, dance on the throne. Kingdom in chaos, anarchists grow. Mad at the monarchy, fury well known. Turning the castle to a libertarian zone. Flag waves high, freedom's torch bright. Knights of debauchery, conquered without a fight. Enemies scorn, throwing shade ain't light. Dan and Dave, new order upstart knights. Flag waves high, freedom's torch bright. Knights of debauchery, conquered without a fight. Enemies scorn, throwing shade ain't light. Dan and Dave, new order upstart knights. King and Dave, new order upstart knights. Ken and Dave, new order upstart knights. Blue-haired ladies screaming back through years. Came to party, dance on the throne. Kingdom in chaos, anarchists grow. Mad at the monarchy, fury well known. Turning the castle to a libertarian zone. Blue-haired sirens, chants won't tire. Liberty songs sing loud within fire. Rebellion spark, never expire. From crown to dust, new order upstart night. Blue-haired sirens, chants won't tire. Liberty songs sing loud within fire. Rebellion spark, never expire. From crown to dust, ideals inspire. Blue-haired sirens, chants won't tire. Liberty songs sing loud within fire. Rebellion spark, never expire. From crown to dust, ideals inspire. Shake the halls with laughter's quake. Mad at the jesters, liberty they take. Loyalists frown as copes break. Castle turned battleground, rebel bake.
This is a Dissident Media production. DissidentMedia.net.
In a world where everything sucks, two men have the balls to laugh at it. This is The System is Down.
Ladies, gentlemen, Trump is calling for world peace. Bernie's real mad about onesies and planes are dropping everywhere. Go share the show and let's get going.
Big club, and you ain't in it.
Today's episode of The System is Down is brought to you in almost the entirety by you guys in the Downers Club, people like Kinover, Gilda, Kate, John Winshower, Bob Seifert, Drugs for Robots, Autumn Jacobs, Pangea, Carolina, Zanger, Maxwell, Kimberly, Brian, nope, I already said Zanger. Denise, Donald, Matthew, Danielle, Break the Bell, Stoney, Keith, Level Zero, Vanzai Media, Jack Casey, Craig DaCosta, Tim Brown. I feel like I'm still missing some of you people. Some of you people in that list. I keep seeing your name and then I don't read it fast enough. So I'm sorry if you're the one person, the one person that Dave's going to point out later that I have not mentioned. Patreon.com/The System is Down is where you can support the show. Not only that, but you can get a bunch of extra bonus content. If once every so often is not enough episodes for you and you just need more, you're going to get more. You're going to get more today, because today we're going to talk about Angela McArdle. Angela McArdle is the topic of discussion. Dave is asking about my microphone. Dave, your audio is on. You can just talk to me like a real human if you want. That's fine.
Bro, I was trying to keep the fourth wall intact.
Is
You
this any
fucked
better?
it all up.
Is this any
But
better?
you're welcome. You totally fixed it. Yeah.
Cool.
Your audio's better now.
Oh, we're going to
You're
talk about Angela McArdle. There's allegations, and she's saying goodbyes and all sorts of things that libertarians are big mad about. Get that and more behind the paywall at patreon.com/the system is down. As long as we have time following this, we'll see where things go. But I am joined, as you know, by the one, the only, the great Mr. David Casey. Dave, how are you doing?
Good, man. I love the morning episodes. It's fun. I feel like we're like the morning show. You know what I mean? I got the coffee ready. I'm just when in Rome.
It is a good way to start the day, yes. Watching the world burn and having a laugh at it is the best way that anybody should spend their Saturday morning. You know, back in my day, Dave, the kids just sat around watching the TV with cartoons on Saturday mornings, but now they're here on this educational informational programming for children.
Listen, man, you brought it up, so I have to pay respect and homage. The voice actor who did He-Man from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe passed away at the age of 88. I can't remember his name at the moment, but that was a bit, man, I don't know if there's any phrase that I uttered more than I have the power as a kid. Oh my God. So, man, Saturday morning cartoons were never the same after that.
I never watched He-Man, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry for your loss.
It's okay.
I'm sorry for your loss.
You're such a prick.
That is a rough one.
Yeah.
I
80s kids
can't believe
will
you just
remember,
dropped
90s
that
kids
news
not
on me,
so
Dave.
much.
Can't
Yeah,
believe you just
I'm-
dropped that on me with live on the air without a warning. I'm gonna need a moment.
I know. Take it all in.
Well, Dave, sometimes things that you love die and they pass away and move on.
Yeah, I know.
Like the Marvel franchise, which has now declared that Captain America has nothing to do with America.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. Like, it's about...
Now, before he goes on to say anything else, he did not say that the term America should not be the only or the greatest representation, which obviously it should be the greatest representation for Captain America to be American, but he said
pretty reasonable.
it should not be any sort of representation. Let's listen to that one more
America
time.
represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations.
It should not even be one of them. Your main base, your main source of income, your entire career, Americans paying for you to dress up like a superhero and dance around on TV. Those are all Americans, so you might want to represent them a little bit. I don't even know if we need to go on with any more of that, but I know that you're a big Marvel fan, Dave, and I want to get your thoughts on Captain America has absolutely nothing to do with America and does not represent you at all.
Well, it's no wonder that he made it to the highest echelons of that industry, because he probably believes that. But I know he did come out and make a public apology because, obviously that's such a stupid thing to say, but also shitty, also filled with ingratitude. And right before your movie comes out called Captain America, and this is after, by the way, Superman, like DC made a conscious decision to change truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. Like that made its way into all the comic books.
It slaps, man.
and all their
A better
TV
tomorrow.
shows and shit.
Unburdened
It's
by what
just-
has been, some might say.
Oh, it's just so like they just want to rip your fucking heart out.
Uh-huh.
That hurts me as much as He-Man dying. It's just so un-American and shitty.
Yeah, I just wanted to start with a real sour note because it's not getting
You
better.
did it.
Actually,
Nailed
it is
it.
getting better. There's plenty of good news today that we will get to, but before that, there's been a lot of strange activity in the sky these days. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's falling, whatever it is. This is what went down in D.C. this week. This is a plane being flown directly into by a Black Hawk helicopter, I'm pretty sure. There's the tiny little speck that's about to hit the big speck, and kaboom! There we go. I don't have you got to be able to pume in here yet, so I'll have to look for it over here.
So with respect to all the
Gotta be
people
able
that
to
just passed away,
pew.
obviously we're very sad about that, but you got to be able to.
Yes, quite sad for whoever lost a loved one in this very mysterious
Or I think it
incident.
was like an ice skating team, like terrible.
Dave, I don't have that much information on this. I haven't dug that deeply into it. I've just seen people saying this is weird, and obviously it is weird. It's not every day that we hear a helicopter running into a plane and then hear about another plane crashing a couple days later. But do you know any more than I do on this yet?
No, just that. I think that there was a bunch of teenagers, I think, on that plane, like a skating team, which it's terrible, dude. But that looks like totally intentional to me. Why would you? People were saying, oh, you can just the machinery can go out, or whatever. People can make mistakes, or I've heard DEI.
That's a big mistake.
It looks intentional. Like what? I don't know. Like I don't think that's a fuck up. I could be. I don't know shit about fuck, but why would you do that? It just looks like you had so much time. It's the slowest crash ever.
Right. And it seems like a pretty direct shot. So I don't know. And I don't know what I guess last I knew, we didn't know who the pilot of the helicopter was, which seems like it would be pretty easy information to figure out.
Yep.
No one at all says fake super chat. It was Tanya Harding. Thank you. And also, that's a good reminder that if you have something to say that you would like us to pay attention to, put fake super chat in all caps so we can see it. We will not get paid. Go join the Downers Club for that, because YouTube hates us, hates you, hates everyone on this platform. Hates our good president Donald Trump. But Donald Trump, in response to the helicopter/plane crash, said this: "The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It is a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good." Not good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot to say to this. People were mad about this being his first response because he was kind of explaining it away. I'm not sure what else he's supposed to do. I just liked the way he's like, "Oh, this is also bad. Not good. Some people have said that this is unideal."
Why is he the smartest guy in the room? Why does he have to be the one to point it out like that? That's absolutely true. And why hasn't that happened before? And I'm sure you've seen what happened in Northeast Philly, dude. That's like 30 minutes from here.
I did. Do you know much about that? This is from Distant Media, so it's legit. But what do we know about this one, Dave?
I have seen some wreckage. That was the first. My 9/11 knowledge tells me to look for plane wreckage around here because these motherfuckers will absolutely fake this shit. There was definitely some wreckage around there. Somebody, was it Laura Loomer, reported that it was a Mexican medic plane. It was a smaller private jet. Dude, I've seen some. I don't know how much. Yeah. Dylan at Dissident has done some great coverage of this, getting all the clips you could, from around there. And there's lots, but yeah, you got the good ones, dude. This looks really shady, and two things in 2 days like this is just really, really too much for me to not have my conspiracy
and I mean, if you go back a couple of months, this doesn't necessarily mean anything, but Alex Jones was saying that there was going to be a domestic terror attack or whatever, like 9/11 type situation. I'm not saying that's what it is yet, but and I'm also not saying that it's anything new for Alex Jones to say there's going to be some sort of domestic terror attack, because that's kind of his go-to. So
wouldn't that wouldn't that be exactly what you think that the machine would do? Is it would want to nationalize the airlines, right? It would want to nationalize that whole thing. In fact, it seemed like they were kind of inching towards that during COVIDville.
Yeah.
But that seems like something that they would want to do. And if the problem, reaction, solution stuff is still in play,
Planes
it's
keep
like,
going
oh,
down.
man, oh, look at all this. Like people, oh, because of DEI or whatever, we should probably take over this industry and make it great again. You guys into that?
Right.
Probably, they'd probably be pretty into that. Yeah, we don't want planes fucking crashing into the streets of Philadelphia. This is
Right.
I can't think of anything in my whole life like that happening.
Yeah, I saw one of the videos. This thing went like at less than a 45-degree angle down. This was almost like straight into the earth that this plane went.
Yeah, looks real shady. Like, are we certain it's a plane?
I don't.
Beep, beep.
Well, I mean, either way, yeah. If it seems, I don't know how planes work when an engine goes out, but in all the movies they glide much more down than, or more horizontally down than straight down into the earth like this one did. But
the explosion was huge.
Yeah,
it was huge, and it was like a perfect half circle.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it a lot. Me and Colleen watched it a bunch this morning from a bunch of clips, and this looks real. I mean, it's terrible, dude. And
so how far is this from you?
30 minutes, 45 tops.
Yeah. Any like anything happen where you are? Like, could you hear anything? Was there any sort of chaos in the streets where you are?
No,
Okay.
no, definitely not. Pretty isolated, and Philly's seen some shit, move bombings, riots.
It happens. It's just Philly.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, here's the one I was looking for. If you watch this one, first off, that explosion is just
huge,
glorious. Thoughts and prayers to all who died, but that's a pretty sweet bomb. That's all I'm saying. Watch. You can see just a tiny speck of the thing going down, but it is real. Like, it even curves down as though it were riding a roller coaster over that first hill. Like, it starts a little bit more horizontal and just plummets. I don't know what makes a plane do that.
It looks like it was in the shape of a bullet. Yeah. Like, I know that there were pieces around there and shit. I don't know.
That's probably just nothing.
It's probably nothing. Yeah, man. I don't know. I hate to conspiracy theorize about it, but
me too.
Awful, man. I don't know how many people died. Probably, I think like it hit like a row home, right?
Yeah.
Like a series of them. That's fucking crazy. That's like nightmare shit, man.
Yeah. Well, in the first one, there were like articles. It seems like there's been inconsistencies in how many people died. Also, my wife was telling me that she looked one night and there were like 4 people that died. Then the next morning, nobody had died, or maybe vice versa. But yeah, shady stuff. I don't know. Maybe they're just plane crashes. I don't have more information than that, so we don't need to speculate. But we certainly will. As time goes on, we will speculate more. But keep an eye on the skies, because it's a bird, it's a plane, it's coming down, and who knows? Who knows? Maybe this is Biden's infrastructure or Trump's infrastructure. People are screaming both of those things simultaneously. Trump's DEI and Biden's DEI. If you're on one side, it's the other side's fault. If you're on the other side, it's the one side's fault. So that's where we're at, and we'll let you know if we find anything else. But we're going to talk about some of those political people and all the stuff that's been going on, because that's apparently all that we can talk about. What else is there to talk about? I hate that it's always just politics, but there's so damn much always going on in politics in the news these days, so whatever. It's our show. There were all these appointments and confirmations and such, these hearings with like Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Kash Patel, and so on and so forth this week that had a lot of eyeballs on them. I was not watching nearly as close as I should be for whatever reason, mostly because I'm bad at my job. Did you watch any of them that closely, Dave? I've got some highlights of things that I've caught, but how much have you seen?
Dude, barely anything. The best thing I saw was a clip from Robert F. Kennedy. I won't say what it is because maybe you have it, but it was fire.
All right. If I don't get to it, bring it up and we'll go find it.
Okay.
All right. First off, one of my favorites is this, just for whatever reason.
Fortunately, Senator, yes. I don't want to get into those details of my family here.
Let's get into a few of them. Tell me about it.
Well, if you look at the record from January 6th, where I testified before that committee, because of my...
First off, Dave, have you heard this one?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well,
But I heard Lindsey Graham in the beginning, this little swarmy little bastard.
yeah. There's really only one reason why I wanted to play this one, and it's a joy.
personal information being released by Congress, I was subjected to a direct and significant threat on my life. And I put that information in the record. I had to move. In that threat, I was called a detestable, and I'll apologize if I don't get it all right, but it's in the record, a detestable sand nigger who had no right being in this country. You should go back to where...
That's all. That's all. There was a hard R dropped in the congressional hearing for the appointment of Kash Patel, and it was worth a share.
Wow.
Any thoughts, Dave?
I wonder why he thought that was, I mean, maybe it is. I wonder how that played, or like what people thought about that. Can he get away with it? Did he get away with it? Why didn't he just say
I think
N-word?
he gets away with it because he, as a not white man, was called that. I certainly don't see any issue with that, and you know, it's just fun when people are honest, and it makes people uncomfortable. It's called that.
Did he shield himself in the sand N-word cloak for the rest of that?
N-word, he played his sand N-word card.
Listen, don't you do it. Don't you lump yourself in with those people.
We can listen to the rest.
where you came from. You belong with your terrorist home friends.
Ooh.
That's what was sent to me. That's just a piece of it. But that's nothing compared to what the men and women in law enforcement face every day. And that's why they have my support.
So he's been called the N-word, and cops are, being treated worse than that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure the point we're trying to make here. I'm not going to feel too bad for the cops being called dirty names, but
Man, I've had it rough, but not as rough as these cops. And that's what we really need to focus on. That's funny.
Yeah. It
Go get
almost
'em.
feels like he just included that for the sake of the press coverage of saying that, knowing that he can't really get in trouble for saying I was called this, but got some attention. So worked on me. Whatever. Moving on. Another favorite of mine is RFK Jr. was being chastised by, he was chastised heavily by known Native American Elizabeth Warren quite heavily. I don't know if I have any clips pulled up of that, but it was basically there were a lot of, it was basically Liz Warren screaming at RFK Jr. because he would have the gall to take money from lawsuits that he worked on in suing big pharmaceutical companies. The heinous crime of going after big pharmaceutical companies that, I for one am outraged by. But Bernie Sanders had my favorite moment of the RFK Jr. Smackdown, and that was this.
I think the gist of what you're trying to say today is you're really pro-vaccine, you want to ask questions. You have started a group called the Children's Health Defense. You're the originator. Right now, as I understand it, on their website, they are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unfaxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way. Next one is No Vax, No Problem.
Just so you know, it's not a cheap deal either. They're way overpriced for a onesie. $26.
Now, you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
That was just a few
Leadership.
months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines.
Militant onesies.
I want good science, and I want to protect the
But you will
vaccine.
not tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ooh, he got him. Sick burn. Bernie with the burn. In response to that, do you support these onesies? You can now buy the onesies. I support these onesies at distantshop.com. That sport RFK Jr. holding up a little onesie that says no vax, no problem, and it says I support these onesies. You can also get it in the real human version, the t-shirt, I support these onesies. Again, that's distantshop.com. Because we are capitalists and never miss an opportunity. But it was certainly fun to hear Bernie Sanders shouting, "Do you support these onesies?" in this hearing. I don't know. RFK Jr. is trying to say I support vaccines, which I understand why he has to say I support vaccines, because there is no gray area with these people. Because he was against a vaccine or had concerns about other vaccines, he is an anti-vaxxer as far as the media has smeared him over the last 4 years. So all he can say is, I support vaccines, because he does support some vaccines that have been proven, and he does not support experimental, medicines on children. But I don't know which he supports more, the vaccines or the onesies, but this is what they've got to attack him with. Children's clothing bought by parents, targeted at anti-vax children. Any thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, don't jab kids. Don't do that. Certainly not with the mRNA jab, which, by the way, remember that they changed the definition of vaccine.
Yeah.
To fit that science. So it used to mean something different. And I'm sure those people are fully aware of that.
Yeah.
So you should definitely support the Children's Health Foundation that he set up, that he's no longer a board of, and go buy their onesies, and go to Dissident Shop and buy those onesies too.
And you can get those other onesies on at Children's HD on Twitter, and they had a response to Bernie Sanders where they said, at Bernie, we'll make you a special pharma, quote, "Pharma is my daddy" one. Let us know, because they have "Pharma is not my mama" in their store as well. So yeah, go support them and stuff, because I like that they're like, yep, nope, fuck you, we're still doing this, and you can yell at RFK Jr. all you want.
But that's the thing, man. Like, I think Bernie put out a tweet that was like, "Oh, I've never taken any money from any pharma CEOs." But that was I don't know if my favorite part was when RFK reminded him, he's like, yeah, but you've taken millions of dollars from the corporations.
Right.
Like, and so has Elizabeth Warren. These people are such shills. Yeah. Like, and it really is telling, like, this is a Kennedy. He should be the easiest, like, you should be getting respect from most Democrats. Yeah. Because you have historically liberal ideas. But you don't, because the whole thing is bought and paid for by pharma. Just like all the news networks, quote unquote news networks, they just get to, they don't even have to be like concrete deals. It's just like so much influence, so much money. Like your whole system is dependent on that.
Yeah.
So what a show. Yep.
There was more to the show also. I don't remember which one this next one is. I think it was the main question that's been going around where, yeah, they want to know about all the numbers and how this is going to work exactly. And Kennedy's basically like, we're talking about numbers when we should be talking about, our chronic disease epidemic in our country, and how the healthcare works exactly is not going to matter if we're all fucking dying. But let's hear that.
My understanding is that the executive order that was issued today, which I haven't seen, but I've read a summary.
Well, let me ask you this then, because you keep citing the Trump administration and you're just going to follow what they say. Is that what you're doing? You're just a rubber stamp for them in this position? So anybody, so it doesn't matter that you're before us. It could be anybody coming before us as long as they're a rubber stamp for this administration and disregarding your beliefs and what you think. I guess my question to you is, if it really is fundamental to what you believe, how do you live with that? How do you address those issues as you're moving forward, knowing that it's going to harm Americans? Yeah.
You want me to answer the question?
No, I'm asking you.
Shut up. President Trump has asked me to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again. And I'm
So
in a
is that
unique
the only reason why
position.
you're at HHS? Is that the only reason why then you're at the HHS?
That's a real big one, bitch. Yeah. Making people healthy is a real big reason why I'm at the HHS. Is that not enough for you?
Does she not hear herself?
Right. Oh. You're just here to keep us healthy at the HHS?
That's pretty much what it boils down to. Yeah.
Sure. Was there something else?
To address that one issue?
President Trump has asked me, because I'm in a unique position,
just to address that one issue of health.
And that is what I'm doing. And if we don't solve that problem, Senator, all of the other disputes we have about who's paying, and whether it's insurance companies, whether it's providers, whether it's HMOs, whether it's patients or families, all of those are moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. Our ship is sinking. Our 60% increase in Medicaid over the past 4 years is the biggest budget line now, and it's growing faster than any other. And no other nation in the world has what we have here. No other nation has a chronic disease. We have the highest chronic disease burden of any country in the world. We had, during COVID, we had 16% of the COVID deaths in a country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. We had a higher death count than any country in the world. And when CDC was asked why, they said it's because Americans are the sickest people on earth. The average person who died from COVID, American, had 3.8 chronic diseases. This is an existential threat economically, to our military, to our health, to our sense of well-being. And it is a priority for President Trump. And that's why he asked me to run the agency. And if I'm privileged to be confirmed, that's exactly what I'll do.
All right.
We should have nominated him for LP president.
I would have preferred it than some other choices that may or may not have gotten the final nomination. But yeah, I don't know. I could see how some people would hear that and be like, well, that's kind of a non-answer. It's just, I'm going to make people healthy again. And it's kind of like, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to do it. I don't, because she's asking about like health coverage and shit like that. And he's basically saying, we can talk about the numbers all day long, but as long as people are dying, the numbers are going to keep going up and it's going to keep getting worse. And I would like to just help people be more healthy. I didn't hear... I mean, we've heard RFK Jr. get into how he plans to make people healthy again, but I don't know, Dave. What do you think of that answer? Do you think it was the smackdown that the right is making it, or do you think it was the non-answer that the left is making it?
Probably neither. I think this is I saw Edward Snowden tweeted that Tulsi Gabbard should just go in there and say that he's a traitor and do whatever. Basically, that was the gist of it, that he's a piece of shit. They should continue these spying things to get confirmed. And I kind of appreciated that. Like, I don't know if that's exactly what she should say, but this is a game. They are playing a game when they go in there and they just fucking yell at blah, 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 and you didn't just say yes, just spell it. Why yes? Like, they're just such fucking, it's so obvious what they're doing, like, on behalf of the regime. So I did actually appreciate that, man. And the Maha shit is really cool. There's lots of good people in there. And anybody who's watching this show probably knows, dude, that there is no wiggle room between big pharma and big agra and big healthcare, all the shit. Yeah. Like, they, as far as Vanguard and, that shit's concerned, BlackRock, these are all the same interests in the same revolving door between, like all the food that you eat makes you sick to go to the places to keep the healthcare insurance machine cranking. And when you are of no use anymore, you know what? Probably we'll figure out just a way to like work that out too. Just like in the name of efficiency or some, again, that's how the machine thinks. But yeah, I appreciated him saying that. And I'm sure he can't come out and say, yeah, Pfizer is like working in tandem with, these awful food companies. Like, dude, it's an absolute assault. And you can look at the data, like who was dying first, old people, but definitely people with comorbidities like high blood pressure, diabetes, particularly. That is a direct result of the food, quote unquote, that we eat here. So these are some of the biggest NAP violations you could possibly imagine on scale you can't even calculate. So
Dave,
like we should
stopping
really
people from eating poison is a bigger NAP violation than not telling somebody that they're eating poison. Don't you know that, Dave?
I don't even care. Stop eating it. Make people stop eating poison because it's affecting everybody else. It's affecting the human genome, you fucks. Stop eating, stop.
Speaking of poison, one of the biggest takeaways from the RFK confirmation hearing that I saw, one of the biggest smackdowns, the biggest scandals and controversy. Did you see the scandal controversy in there, Dave? That everybody's pointing out? Did you catch it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Watch closely.
Probably a lot of people that may not agree with this.
Wait.
We had to respond. And it's actually the Gates Foundation and a flu cohort that figured out what was wrong and that we had an outbreak of COVID that was going beyond the very first.
It was subtle. It was subtle. What did you see there, Dave? What happened?
I actually know about this. I did know about this. This is so great.
Why did you not bring this up? This is such a big fucking deal, Dave.
It is a big fucking deal. I'm wondering if he thought that he could get away with that. He's being so slick about it, or is he trolling them? Like he could be trolling the media right now.
Yeah, he might not have put anything in.
So that we talk about this, so we can have a conversation about nicotine. Right on the heels, by the way, of the fucking Biden administration putting further regulations, like mandating that the cigarette companies put less
pardoning
nicotine.
Some nonviolent drug offenders. Thank you for that. But then making it harder to get cigarettes.
Right. Not just harder to get them, but less nicotine. And you can crank up all the other shit, the formaldehyde, all the chemicals that they drop in there. So you'll smoke more of that shit. You'll smoke more death, but
you'll be less addicted, but you'll be smoking twice the pack. So.
Oh my God. Right. How nefarious.
Yeah, of course, everybody for the audio listener, it looks as though RFK Jr. put in some sort of Zyn or something, some sort of tobacco or nicotine pouch in his lip during his hearing, and him being the Make America Healthy Again guy, this was quite the scandal because this is just not healthy. All these people are doing blow immediately after this hearing is over, and immediately after their reporting is over, they're going to go, snort something off the bathroom sink. But, because RFK Jr. is literally under a microscope, we noticed that he kind of shuffled with his lip a little bit, and that proves that he is a hypocrite and not to be not qualified to speak on the matters of health, because only a drug addict, which he is a former drug addict, but that is besides the point. Only a drug addict would, pop a Zyn in the middle of a confirmation hearing. Dave, I don't even know. I didn't even know what a Zyn was up until very recently. I feel like I'm too old. Do you think that RFK Jr. is a little too old to be popping Zyns in Congress?
I think he used to be the heroin addict, bro. So, if he needs a fucking Zyn to chill and go do some good work at HHS. And who the fuck are these people? These are
I also
people
passed judgment while vaping a blueberry watermelon. So,
right,
we're
which
all
was marketed to kids.
Yes.
Wasn't Rachel Levine the last person who had this job? Like, what a filthy, disgusting, unhealthy slob. Not to mention mentally ill. So, I don't know. You're pissed that this guy's popping his in. I think he's probably trolling. I'm going to start the national conversation on nicotine. But I don't care. No, if he's not, it's not like he lit up a cigarette in there, which also would have been badass.
That would have been even cooler. That would have been infinitely cooler, actually. If he just like pulled out a cigar or something, or a joint, and just lit up and was like, "This is not illegal. It's fine."
Right. Actually, this is very
Trump
healthy.
decided it. Yeah, Trump signs an executive order that day of, you can now smoke indoors. It's fine, and that'd be great. Right before
we talked about it,
it goes into Congress.
Smoking indoors in moderation is just fine. Awesome.
I got a private chat asking me if I can explain what a Zyn is, and I honestly cannot. Do you know what a Zyn is, Dave? I know that it's something nicotine based.
Yeah, it's like a nicotine pouch, right? Might have some extra fucking juice in there. I don't know. I don't know much. I don't.
The vape of chew is the best I've got. Yeah.
Right.
Now, if you are working at a vape store and an enraged Zyn addict comes in and you get injured while on the job, you see where I'm going with this, Dave? You see?
Yes, I do.
You see my smooth transition?
Who are you gonna call?
Lone Star. Have you or a loved one been injured by some fuck nuggets, reckless driving, a tumble at your shitty job, or some other form of dumb shit outside of your control? Well, fear not, because today's episode is sponsored by a lawyer. Lone Star Injury Attorneys is an award-winning personal injury law firm that achieves maximum results for its injured clients. Max the Axe is not just a lawyer, but a hardcore Mises Caucus libertarian and also a big supporter of this show and all of our bullshit. Max is the best personal injury lawyer in Texas, but don't judge him by his occupation or location. Max is an avid defender of liberty and justice in whatever state you got fucked in. If you've been injured and your ass needs saving, go with the pros at Lone Star Injury Attorneys. Visit LoneStarInjuryAttorneys.com or Google Max the Axe. Consultations are free and you don't pay a single dime unless you win. Once again, go to LoneStarInjuryAttorneys.com and get your ass covered.
Hey there, do you like shirts? Of course you do. Well, get a load of these shirts from DissidentShop.com. Your one-stop shop for all the latest designs that will make your friends go, "Oh, wow. That guy is so based, I want to be his friend during the apocalypse." Go to DissidentShop.com and wear the dissidents you want to see in the world.
And we are back. Thank you, and thank you for sticking around. Now, let's see. In other news, and this happened before some of this other news in the week, but it makes more sense to lump it in this section of the show because we're going to get into some of Donald Trump's actions as of the last few days since we last spoke. Donald Trump, immediately following our last episode, Dave, Donald Trump went out and did the unthinkable, the thing that everybody said could not be done. He apparently...
Ended the income tax?
No, we'll get to that. He turned the water back on. He sent the military to California. I don't know how this works exactly, but he turned the big valve that all the Californians refused to turn while they were burning alive and turned the water on. And yeah, I haven't heard much update on how this has changed the situation of the fires going on in California, but I imagine it helped. If I had to guess, I imagine the water helped. What do you think, Dave?
Trump, water bringer.
Turner of faucets.
Firefighter. Oh, man. That's pretty good opening week or two.
How many Democrats does it take to turn a faucet on? All of them and one Donald Trump, apparently. If this is true, and I would like to know, like, from a Californian or something, or hear Gavin Newsom's report on what exactly went down when Trump sent the military to turn the hoses on while everybody stood around watching their houses burn.
They just needed a strongman federal authority figure to come in and tell them what the fuck to do. Okay, I mean, you got it, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, there are those that say that Democrats lack common sense or that they are evil. I'm not one of those people, obviously, who would say that. But all I know about this story is the Democrats said the water could not be turned on to save their homes, and Donald Trump turned the water on to save their homes. If that's not true, let me know. Dan at tsidpod.com. But if it is true, I've got some questions. Anyway. In other Trump-related news, this comes from Republicans Against Trump, so you know it's legit. And they said, as though it's a bad thing, the Pentagon has announced plans to rotate out the New York Times, NBC News, NPR, and Politico from their offices at the Pentagon. In their place, Breitbart, OANN, the New York Post, and HuffPost will take over. Another classic authoritarian move to replace independent outlets with friendly media, with friendly quote-unquote media that will only praise the regime. So, Republicans Against Trump heard that Donald Trump took all the legacy media, or not all of them, some of them, like NPR, Politico, NBC, and the New York Times, took them out, replaced them with Breitbart, the New York Post, I'm not familiar with OANN, and even Huffington Post. And the way that this is being perceived by Republicans Against Trump is that the authoritarian Donald Trump kept out these lowly independent outlets like NPR and Politico and the New York Times and replaced them with just people who would praise him, like Huffington Post.
Trump just wants the same stuff that all of the previous presidents had, which was
And this is not even close. Like, Huffington Post is not a Trump shill. They're a Trump hater, if anything.
Not. Though, which is the one that Vivek was going to buy? BuzzFeed. That was that one.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right. So, but that's really great. This is another one of those encouraging things. Oh, the New York Times,
yeah,
NBC, given the boot. That's pretty rad.
And I heard for all their faults, I'll take the Daily Wire having a spot in the White House for press coverage over NBC any day. Still not the best, but, you know, more honest than you're going to get out of anybody who's actually on the television.
You know what? No, I would rather have NBC in there because everybody knows that they are corporate shills. But some people still think that the Daily Wire is some kind of dissident voice, which it is not. It is just
in there.
It is not. No, I know that you had that great Matt Walsh video, and that guy makes cool content. And I'm not saying that there aren't anything good coming out of there, but at its source and what it has done has definitely been a net negative to people that care about human freedom and liberty. So, you know, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
That's the gist.
Apparently, I think Tim Pool is also having somebody, or working on getting somebody, a correspondent for the White House. But, you know, regardless of what you think about the Daily Wire, I see your point, Dave. It is nice to still watch the mainstream media flail as far as going in and screaming about exposing themselves as to how they really feel about Trump and all the bullshit that they will make up. They're still going to make that bullshit up. It's nice to have actual honester people who at least point the camera and show that this is actually what happened without a bias against. You know, there might be a bias for, but I feel like any criticism that the Daily Wire or Tim Pool has of Donald Trump, they're going to be more likely to be honest about that than NBC would if they had secret criticism for Joe Biden. They would spin that into a Joe Biden win somehow. So at least, you know, we're shuffling the board around and trying out some new things, which I think is really exciting. And it will also be exciting to watch, like, NBC not be able to cover these things and how much their head will explode that they don't get to be in the room. And that brings me joy. So, yeah.
Same. Good call.
Yeah. So, other things that bring me joy, that whole abolishing the income tax thing that you mentioned, Donald Trump is still talking about it. He's still bringing it up. We'll see. Awesome. This is one that I'm definitely not holding my breath for, but there's been a lot of things that have surprised me, and I wasn't holding my breath for them either. So here's Donald Trump talking to Congress about the income tax.
America is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And relatively speaking, in other words, relatively.
Awesome. In other words of the word I just said, the same word.
Yep.
He set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
I think so. I think it makes sense. I know there are libertarians out there that think it doesn't make sense, but so far I'm willing to give it a shot still. I have not been scared by the scary tariffs yet enough to rescind my, abolishing, there's not enough tariffs in the world that's going to make me go, no, I want to keep the income tax. So, yeah, let's give that a go and see where that goes. But Trump's still talking about it. He has not signed any sort of executive order or passed any bill or pushed any bill yet, but it's still very much on the table, it would seem. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, the libertarians, we know the libertarians that would say that. They're the ones where the perfect is the enemy of the good. And you should absolutely take that, because you can, to a certain degree, definitely opt out of the tariff. If you're not we do live in a consumeristic culture, and it is pretty gross at times. Doesn't mean that we don't want options for stuff, and we don't want, competition in the market. So you could be for that, but yeah.
You don't have to buy stuff from China if you don't want to. If that stuff gets more expensive, especially for the, I don't know, agorists or whatever living in the woods who are growing their own shit, this is great. If they don't, they still would have to pay the income tax, but they're living off the land for much of their resources, or trading, bartering, doing the whole, free market thing under the table. And to not have an income tax while you're living on your own, that would be a pretty big deal, I would say.
Right. And we kind of live already in
affect that at all.
So we already kind of live in a service-based economy. You've already heard that, right? So if you don't need a lot of stuff, it would work out way better for you.
Right.
Your hotels will still cost the same. Flying around a plane will probably cost about the same. Unless you're building stuff or real estate, that might, materials and things will cost you more. But how many cars are you buying? It just makes no sense. So think about the money you would save every single week by not paying the income tax, and then weigh that against how much you think that you would consume in stuff.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. So,
and one of those things you can stop consuming. You can't stop getting income and having to pay income tax. So
insidious. It's so awful. Yeah.
Even if it did make the cost of imported goods more expensive, it is still, it still gives you the opportunity to have more liberty in your lifetime if you do not have to pay income tax and can live, self-sustain. But, libertarians will be libertarians, which means big mad. Now, in other Trump news, there was a whole lot of talk about school choice this week. Because, just I would call all of these so far pretty big libertarian wins for Donald Trump to be shaking shit up like this. Who was the last president we even heard talking about school choice? I don't know. I don't remember hearing Biden talk about school choice. Maybe he did, but Donald Trump had this whole school choice week event where he had a round table with a bunch of people come in and talk to him about all the benefits of giving parents the opportunity to choose where their kids go to school, which as a libertarian myself, I call that a win, but I know many of you probably don't. Here is press secretary, I don't know her name yet, blonde chick talking.
The nation's report card was released this week, and the news is not good. It showed that U.S. students had record low reading comprehension scores last year. It's National School Choice Week. And in part of the president's commitment to education, he just left a roundtable in the Roosevelt Room focused on this issue with leaders from across the country. The national report card showed that 70% of 8th graders were below proficient in reading, and 40% of 4th graders did not even meet the basic reading levels. This is completely unacceptable to the president, and he continues to take aggressive actions to address this education problem in our country. He signed an executive order this week prohibiting federal funding of the indoctrination of our children, including radical gender ideology and critical race theory in the classroom. The president believes American education should focus on cultivating patriotic citizens who are ready for the workforce. And this action will help get schools back on track and defend fundamental parental rights in education.
All right, so patriots who are ready for the workforce is a phrase that might have rubbed me the wrong way in the past, until we saw what it looks like to have retards who are not ready for anything in the real world. And now there's certainly a large part of me that would like, if our kids have to go to indoctrination camps, not that I need them to love the country, but to not hate their home and all the things that they've been given would be cool. And to not be, told, oh, there it goes. To not, whatever. To not be told that, they are in the wrong body and whatnot. So, I don't know. Go ahead, Dave, while I fix my camera. Give me your thoughts on that. And you're muted.
Oh, man.
Be glad I was
don't
busy.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to think that there could be some place in between the fucking insane woke gender, DEI, all that shit, ideology, indoctrination, and like warrior training kids. We don't have to compete with China in all the ways. Right. I guess is my major point. We should definitely let kids be kids, but yes, don't train them to hate where they live or hate themselves. Like, that is totally backwards and perverted and insidious and terrible. So, yeah, it's good. Let's course correct. Let's just not swing. Let the pendulum swing.
I still don't want kids to feel any obligation to say the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of a school day, but I don't want it to be Patriot boot camp. I just want school to be school. If kids have to learn, then teach them how to be appreciative and how to be ready for the real world. That's great. That's what you're there to do, and you can kind of leave it at that. I do have a little bit of concern, and we've been saying it for a while, that the authoritarian swing will be back so heavy that this could go and they could swing, they could over course correct, but so far it's swung so incredibly in one direction that anything moving back to not hating certain races and not hating your home would be a good first step. So, and agreed. Also, regardless of what you think about the public schools and what they're teaching or not teaching, or if it's too patriotic or whatever, if the main point of this weekend was school choice. So if you don't like the way they're teaching, you could go to a different school, at least, if that passes. So it's a non-issue at that point. But Thomas Massey let's see, which one is this? This is a bill to terminate the Federal Department of Education. And did you see the bill that he's pushing, Dave? Did you read it?
No.
I read it. I don't read a lot, but I read this bill. Here's the bill. The 119th Congressional First Session, H.R. 899, in the House of Representatives, Mr. Massey introduced the following bill, which was referenced to the Committee on blank. A bill, this is the bill, to terminate the Department of Education. 1, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Section 1, terminate the department or termination of the Department of Education. The Department of Education shall terminate on December 31st, 2026. This is the entirety of the bill. Fucking get rid of it. The end. Replace it with nothing. Move on with your day. Good night. And there's nothing I love more than a bill that is concise enough for my small brain to understand. And Thomas Massie, of course, was the one to present this. A bill to end the Department of Education. Point 1, end the Department of Education. Thank you. Any thoughts, Dave?
Obviously, we should do that. And I've heard some I've heard criticisms of Massie, which are like kind of in the same. And this doesn't even come from a bad place, but like that some of the things that he puts forward are like somewhat performative because they will not pass. Like auditing the Fed and things like that. Yeah. But in a world where politics is mostly theater and stuff, I think that this can be really useful and. That might actually, like this administration has said that that's something that they want to do.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool. I'd love him to get that win.
It just might work.
And it seems very Trumpian to just keep it simple. Yeah. Look what he did here. We can do all the things like this. Put it one sentence so I can read it and get out.
And basically what all he's saying is the same thing that Trump has said on multiple occasions. We got to get rid of it. It sucks. That's all. That's all you need to know. Okay. So, yeah, it might be so crazy. It just might work. And
be great.
Worth a shot. Worth a shot. At least we have, somebody like Massie actually giving it a shot. Okay. Another, what I would call a libertarian Trump win. Here's Donald Trump talking about his current dealings in foreign issues with Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, and discussing nuclear disarming amongst all the nuclear powers.
But we always had a great relationship, I would say, and we look forward to doing very well with China and getting along with China. Hopefully China can help us stop the war with, in particular, Russia, Ukraine. They have a great deal of power over that situation. And we'll work with them. And I mentioned that during our phone conversation with President Xi. And hopefully we could work together and get that stopped. We'd like to see denuclearization. In fact, with President Putin prior to an election result, which was frankly ridiculous, we were talking about denuclearization of our two countries, and China would have come along. China has a much smaller right now nuclear armament than us, or field than us, but they're going to be catching it at some point over the next 4 or 5 years. And I will tell you that President Putin really liked the idea of cutting way back on nuclear, and I think the rest of the world, we would have gotten them to follow, and China would have come along too. China also liked it. Tremendous amounts of money are being spent on nuclear, and the destructive capability is something that we don't even want to talk about today. Because you don't want to hear it. It's too depressing. So we want to see if we can denuclearize, and I think that's very possible.
I can't even go there.
And I can tell you that President Putin wanted to do it. He and I wanted to do it.
Not good.
We had a good conversation with China. They would have been involved, and that would have been an unbelievable thing for the planet.
Okay. So, a little bit different than Trump's first term. When going into the White House, he said a few anti-war things, enough to get some libertarians, interest, but not ours at the time, and did not get our vote. And then when he got in there, he dropped some missiles and things and yada yada, and we were all mad about it, rightfully so. This time, he talked about anti-war stuff going into the White House and peace talks and such things, and we've seen some of these sides more interested in peace talks, and now he's gone to the extent that it sounds like he is pushing for nuclear disarming of the world, and I don't know, the closest dream of any sort of world peace that we've ever heard of in, I would say, my lifetime. Has there been any other president who you remember had, assuming that what Donald Trump is saying is true, this is all Donald Trump saying, Putin sounded interested, China sounded interested, who knows if they're actually interested or if any of this is even real, but have you heard any other president talk like this? Like, we are considering, the United States is considering making agreements to denuclearize, and if these other countries do the same.
No, I mean, certainly not since the war on terror got kicked off, but even like in like the beautiful 90s, you know, with Bill Clinton, I'm pretty sure that would have been political suicide.
Yeah.
To say that, oh, we should just all sing Kumbaya and denuclearize together. So I really hope that's true. And yeah, I have heard him say quite a bit about how he wants to be a peace president. I want to be a unifier. Like, he specifically said that, and said great things like this. Mentioned the military industrial complex even in his last, for the first time in our lifetime, I think, a president doing that. So yeah, man, that would be great. Some of these nukes can reach like 20,000 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's gonna and
drop
Russia
right in Philly.
See, that's what I like. That shit looks like you couldn't do anything to stop that.
Yeah.
So like, what if something was on? You know, you can put one of these things in a suitcase. People think like nukes, like nuclear missiles and like big operations. Like, there's so many dirty bombs and things you just aren't prepared. Yeah. I say the more of that, the better. But you know, that'd be the way to go if we can do it.
It would be, and it seems like there's also a change in just the conversation about war as of late, which I think is largely due to Donald Trump. I mean, people like Tucker Carlson was anti-war before, but it seems like even he's gotten more comfortable in just being flat out anti-war. And here's a clip of Tucker Carlson calling out Ben Shapiro for not being anti-war enough, and calling out Piers Morgan for not being anti-war enough to his face.
If you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You know, maybe you could make. I agree with that. Maybe you make the case that we had to do it or whatever, but you should. I agree. You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's really threatening to. Is it evil? Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever. But is it evil to kill civilians on purpose? Yeah, it is. I think it is. Really? Kids and children. Well, how is it not actually? In a war. You can call it whatever you want. How is it right to kill women and children?
I didn't say, because I think there is a moral right behind you if you are literally...
To kill women and children?
If there's a world war that threatens if it threatens the entire world, yes.
Some people killed your kids like you're 8.
You see how quickly that ramped up to, well, if there's a war... Well, if there's a world war, if there's a world war threatening the entire world, like, if we're all going to die if we don't kill women and children, then we have to kill women and children, right? Like, just his line of logic just kept ramping up to the only alternative to killing women and children is we all die. Sure.
That is the mind virus on full display right there. Because I don't know, but I don't think Piers Morgan is evil. But this is how good men allow evil. Like, you can separate yourself from that. You can say because of some, and like you said, he just took it to infinity. Right off it's an existential threat to the world. So you have no choice. You just absolved yourself of all of that because you were scared of something. Like, that's just so that will allow for ultimate evil. And Tucker is absolutely right. And it's crazy. Yeah, it felt like he had to like inch his way into that to like, as to not like take the brunt of, you know, the old guard kind of mentality. But like that is the separation now, man. That's fucking crazy.
Yep. And I for one am quite glad that we have people like disaffected Tucker, who I trust more and more every day. We've had our times during his conversion where we did not trust him one bit, but I have yet to see something that I don't like as of late. So, you know, keep this type of stuff up.
Like, how is that morally justifiable?
Well, because actually you have to. Well, by your criteria,
it's disgusting.
Okay, so no war is morally justified.
I mean, I think it's pretty hard to justify. I mean, yeah, I'm sure, war. You know, a pure defensive action, sure. But all I'm saying, look, it's all ugly. It's all hard to stomach. I've actually seen some of it up close, super ugly.
You can say that you hate it.
May I finish?
The fact you quibble with it being morally justified.
To intentionally kill non-combatants, women and children, I think we can say that's wrong. In fact, I thought that was the thing we were fighting against.
Damn. I'm going to give him one of these. So the fact that you quibble with it being morally justified to blow up women and children who did absolutely nothing to anyone, the fact that you quibble with that being moral is unthinkable to Piers Morgan. Yeah, your brain's broken, dude. Like, you can't possibly look at this from a 5-foot view up and see how awful the thing that you're saying is. I can't imagine watching this back and not being like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Arguing that it's morally justified to kill innocent people because of war. But, you know.
Even when it's brought to your attention that it's evil, you go, no, it's not.
Right.
And you know, to bring it back to the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring retweeted that.
Oh,
and he said, oh, you know who Tucker never mentions? Vladimir Putin. You can tell what he's obviously up to here. Like, dude,
wow.
what? No,
so,
you can tell what you're
so Tucker's a Russian
doing.
bot now because he would have the balls to say the Daily Wire isn't upset enough about war.
Yeah. It's so what they do is just so clearly on display.
Yeah. It is, and as you had mentioned earlier, I am going to bring it back to the Daily Wire and Matt Walsh's little rant on foreign aid to countries that, you know, can't afford to exist as a country. And if you're wondering why this might be controversial, it's similar. It's towing the line of similar to what Candace Owens got fired from the Daily Wire for, it would seem. So let's
if you need U.S. aid in order to exist as a country, if you cannot function as a country without U.S. aid, then you don't deserve to exist as a country.
He's getting fired.
Okay, then you're a country that effectively doesn't exist already. You are a puppet. You're a failed state that is.
Oh my God, this is so great.
This weekend at Bernie's on the international stage.
Just something to interject, Dave?
Bro, this is so amazing. He is obviously, I mean, like, if it's not clear, he is dog whistling the fuck out of this. Like, I'm sure he can't say certain things. I bet it's in his contract. He literally can't. But you can fucking dog whistle. He knows exactly what he's doing. I bet you he's trying to get out. He wants to be removed. So that he can probably get paid and also be out of this terrible organization that he works for right now.
I don't know. There's a lot of people, you know, calling this out or pointing this out. That I even was making jokes that it was nice knowing Matt Walsh at the Daily Wire. It'll be nice to see him, you know, off on his own after this. But you know, so the argument after this, we can just jump to. Somebody asked him in the chats. Hold on, let me make that so you can. No, whatever. Somebody asked him in the chats, do you support ending aid to Israel as well then, Matt? And he said, yes. I said all, didn't I? And then he went on to say that this is a point that he's made in the past plenty of times. This is not a new statement from him. So I don't know what the level of controversy behind the scenes would be from something like this. But what I do know is in watching this, where he doesn't say anything too specific, you're right. He does give a lot of whistles, and he does have a lot of dramatic pauses, almost as though he's choosing his words carefully. But there's more, and we can watch and decide.
Look, you're already a dead country. You are a dead country if you need welfare payments permanently from American taxpayers in order to exist. And so I think the only solution is to just let the chips fall where they may. Revoke all U.S. aid from everybody, and let these things shake out. And maybe if you're a country that can't be sustained on your own, then probably what ends up happening is that a stronger country comes in and takes over, you know, which is how the world worked for thousands of years. If you can't take care of yourself, if you can't stand on your own 2 feet as a nation, then some other country's going to come in and they're going to conquer you, and they're going to take. That's just the way it works. Which would be hard to lament as any great tragedy, considering you had all this time to figure out how to exist as a country and you couldn't figure it out. So, you know. Maybe it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and so maybe that's a process that we should just allow to play out a little bit. Because if the other option is that we have to take food out of our children's mouths forever to prop up all of these countries, who, by the way, do nothing for us, give us nothing in return, and don't even display even the faintest hint of gratitude ever. If that's the alternative, well then, that's just not an acceptable alternative.
Well said, and hard to argue with, I would say, even if you are like a big pro-Ukraine shill or pro-Israel shill or pro-anybody shill. You know, if a country is not able to exist on its own as a country, then it's not a country, and it doesn't really exist as a country. It exists as a welfare state that suckles off our teat and provides absolutely nothing in return. Our greatest allies all around the world don't seem to. The relationship goes very heavily one way, and good on Matt Walsh for not delicately saying what he did not want to say and has not said in the past, but I don't know. I don't buy that this isn't a bit of a new development. It seems like for whatever he's said in the past, I haven't seen anything this ballsy as far as being almost a direct call out to foreign aid to Israel. What do you think, Dave?
Dude, it's all about timing. Like, yeah, you might have said that before, I'm sure, but like, and the long pauses in there, bro. Come on, it's so. I mean, I applaud him. I think that's awesome, and it is true. It's just it was kind of a masterful way to like say it without saying it.
Yeah,
which is kind of what you have to do today, no matter what, whether you work for the Daily Wire or if you don't. If you just want to be, you don't want to be silenced. You got to be careful. Literally, there's laws that are getting pushed right now through Congress that people are all about in a bipartisan way. And, that might get reported on positively in the press, by the way, who's got new press passes at like Breitbart and Daily Wire. And
sure.
They'll probably be like, well, First Amendment.
Are you talking about the ban anti-Semites or
yeah.
What was it? Export anti-Semites? Round up all the anti-Semites and fly them back to their country of where exactly?
It starts with, exactly. With
Deport,
foreign students.
not export.
But,
same idea.
But I just think, I worry about, again, slippery slope and everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a concerning one, certainly. If depending on where exactly that goes and what exactly that even fucking means. But back to good news. Just the continual shift in the atmosphere, as we've got people like Matt Walsh seemingly being more bold, and even Tucker Carlson being more bold on this anti-war thing, as Donald Trump is being more bold on this actual anti-war thing. I think that's a good thing. And even we have people like Sean Strickland coming out and saying, I supported Ron Paul and voted for Rand Paul. Fuck off and have a good night. LOL. Peace. Yeah. Culture shifts. I know that Sean Strickland has said some things in the past, but this is a pretty direct, like, fuck you. This is what we should have done. This is how it should be. And big voice. So get on him.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Now I've got just a list of things here. Benny Johnson posted this. It's President Trump's The Deep State Bloodbath in the past 24 hours. And it's just a list of all the things that went down, and we can go through them quickly. We could probably spend at least 15 minutes on each one of these, but I'll go. We're getting long here, and we've got an after party to do. So, all federal prosecutors handling January 6th cases have been fired, computers locked, and marched out of their offices by security. Next thing, David Sundberg, the FBI assistant director at the helm of the January 6th investigation, has been fired. 20 leaders of the FBI field offices have been escorted out of the buildings around the country. The next thing, the 51 intelligence officers. Sorry, it's tired over here. The 51 intelligence officers who spread misinformation about Hunter Biden's laptop and interfered in elections are now banned from entering federal properties. Federal employees are now required to return to the office with non-compliance leading to termination. John Bolton and John Brennan have been permanently banned from the government buildings. I think that one deserves an applause of its own. All of these do, but Gerald Harold Rogers, which is my favorite name I've ever heard, has been indicted for compromising U.S. trade secrets to China, ban on all use of pronouns in government communications. All 2 million feds sent a resignation offer. The purge marks the beginning of the end for the corrupt tyrants, blah, 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 blah. So basically, everybody that was like talking dumb shit, saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation or whatever, and January 6th was an insurrection to overthrow the U.S. government, and yada, yada, yada. All the things that they have used against Trump relentlessly for the last forever. Donald Trump's like, I'm not just pardoning the January 6th people. Everybody that was involved in that, you have to go. John Bolton, you have to go. You are not welcome here anymore. Goodbye. Good night. Go figure out your life and be glad it's not worse than being fired. And to that I say, thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you for another, what I would call, a libertarian win. What do you think, Dave?
Dude, literally all of that was great. And again, just within a couple of weeks. I like the way that they're thinking. Like, you can't necessarily just come in and fire people, I'm sure. So what do? You make the people who have been living at home or working from home extremely comfortable lives, probably not really pulling their weight over the past couple of years. You make their jobs harder. You make them come into work, which is another thing that he did. And at the same time, you offer a generous payout to quit your job. We want to get rid of. It's clear they want to get rid of a lot of these people, and I think that who's the guy who started that party? Andrew Yang was looking at that. Was looking at the offer. He's like, this is actually pretty generous to anybody that has. So he's making an offer. I hope that they can't refuse and they quit their job, and the federal bureaucracy shrinks itself because it doesn't want to be there anyway. And doesn't want to do work, is not essential, literally not essential, and will make themselves obsolete.
Absolutely. Now, it's not all sunshine and roses with all of the Department of Justice, being forced out of their jobs. We would call that a big old win, but some people would call it breaking news. It is much worse than previously reported. Not only were at least 30 federal attorneys who worked on January 6 cases fired, but all 6 of the FBI's most senior executives and multiple heads of field offices have been escorted out. This is terrifying. So there's 2 sides to every story. One is everybody cheering and applauding that a bunch of corrupt pieces of shit are losing their jobs. And the other side is like, this is an authoritarian takeover, that corrupt pieces of shit are losing their jobs. Those are our corrupt pieces of shit. How can he do this? So,
That's crazy. That's crazy that the partisanship has gotten us to that point. Especially, I'm really disappointed in the liberals, though. That did not take long. It was not long ago that they would have, like, what the fuck? Of course I'm not going to side with the intelligence agency. Of course this is corrupt. Of course we know the history of the FBI.
Of course we're on the side of the protesters that feel like they were wronged by the system over, the bureaucrats.
Yeah. What's wrong with you guys? Come on.
Get your shit together. Yeah. Now, things might be improving some places around the country, but here in my great state of Illinois, our wonderful Governor J.B. Pritzker has announced that he has banned all January 6, 2021 rioters from ever being employed by any branch of the Illinois state government. So if that grandma that was carrying the flag there, if she moves to Illinois, she's not allowed to run for any sort of, well, I guess she could probably run for office, but she can't hold any office position. I don't know if that would exclude running. I would imagine not. But either way, fuck this fat piece of shit. that makes our state.
I actually forgot that he was your governor. He's like I'd say top 5 worst in the whole country. And I didn't know, I've been researching him a little bit lately, actually. And yeah, I didn't know that he was a billionaire. I didn't know that he's kind of like deep into the trans movement. I think his brother is trans, and like they've pushed a lot of that stuff like nationwide. And like he's responsible.
I'm pretty sure his
for
brother is his sister, and it just looks like J.B. Pritzker in a wig.
Right. And like I'm not saying this means everything, but like what a disgusting piece of shit. Like we should not be somebody that would just be that fucking gross. Like you're a billionaire. You could have you could be
more rich
the
than
healthiest
Trump,
guy on the planet.
For what it's worth, to those who think that Trump is just a greedy fat cat. J.B. Pritzker, man of the people, is a bigger fat cat than any of them.
Yeah, and that's exactly more hypocrisy of the left. It just doesn't matter that billionaires aren't the problem. It's what we believe.
Yep. Now, I'm curious your take on this next one, Dave, because Donald Trump says that he's directing the opening of a detention center at Guantanamo Bay to hold up to 30,000 migrants in the U.S. illegally. Obviously, if all the drug dealers are terrorists and all the I don't know, if we're going that route, is this concerning, Dave? Is this setting up detention centers for well-meaning folks who just stumbled across the border? Do you have concerns?
Sure, because we don't have access to that place, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But this is not unprecedented. I'm pretty sure some other presidents have used that in the 80s and 90s.
I feel like Obama did, but I could be wrong.
Definitely Haitian refugees, immigrants and stuff, up to, I think, many, many thousands at a time were like kind of just sleeping on the floor there. So it's been done. So it's not like he's like, we should close Guantanamo Bay. That should still happen. And, but the craziest part about that place is not that it exists. It's that they put quote unquote terrorists there who they didn't know what else to do. My guess is because you couldn't put these people on trial for what they really actually know. So you got to keep them in a place where it's perpetual limbo. You might not even know who's there. So that's the danger behind that place. And, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. If it's there,
you got to put them somewhere still. And even if they are violent terrorists to some degree, I don't know what the right answer is.
But isn't that? So, and neither do I. And I guess this is better than, black bagging, quote unquote terrorists.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep an eye on that because you never know. But it's funny. Again, it just reminds me more problem reaction solutions. Like. Everybody knows we have the problem now because the last guy, like really shit the bed, literally and figuratively. But now we have to deal with it. So, but luckily we have this ICE apparatus and DHS is cooking and we got all these resources and we know how to spend them. So it's like, just watch that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Trump went on with other orders to ban the chemical castration and medical mutilation of innocent children in the United States of America. Our nation will no longer fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support so-called gender-affirming care, which has already ruined far too many precious lives. My order directs agencies to use every available means to cut off federal financial participation in institutions which seek to provide these barbaric medical procedures that should have never been allowed to take place. So we can no longer use chemicals to remove the genitals of children under the age of consent. Scary to some? Sure. I can't help but call it a maybe even, dare I say, a libertarian win that we're not convincing children to burn their balls off.
It's an assault on freedom, bro. Okay, let's just call it what it is.
Tyrants.
Oh my God. No, that's fucking great. But I want to know, again, I think that these guys do know a little bit of 4D chess, a whole lot more than we probably give them credit for. And this is something, dude, because I know just from what I've had to look into this woman around here, Deshaun O'Neill, and the precedent she set with her kids getting Medicaid to pay for it. It's literally in the Affordable Care Act. It's a part of Obamacare that they cannot discriminate based on gender.
Mhm.
So like this is something that, according to this law, which is the law of the land found constitutional by the Supreme Court, is guaranteed. Like the government can't discriminate on that. So I think, I don't know, this is going to be a war, you know, we're going to have it. We're going to have that national conversation, and I'm interested to see how far it goes. And I'm so grateful that he's at least, you know, taking this on.
Yeah.
But I'm
glad
interested
we
to
were
see how
allowed to have the conversation again, rather than this is a woman, no matter how you feel. And if you disagree, you are a terrorist. But, you know, we'll see how it shakes out. Amongst all of this, despite all the things that Trump managed to accomplish within the last few days, he still found a little time to let loose, kick off his shoes, and play a little game of tennis against Serena Williams. Here's that.
And Donald Trump is always where the cameras are when it involves making money. And today at Lowe's Island in Sterling, Virginia.
First off, you noticed the reporting. Donald Trump's always where the cameras are when there's an opportunity to make money. Like, Donald Trump does a thing, and they open with, well, this greedy bastard's out there being cool again. And just so you know, he's a greedy bastard right out the gate. Don't forget, greedy bastard.
Virginia, he opened the Tennis Performance Center. Trump volleyed with Serena Williams, shoes off, coat on. Donald Trump showing he's got some game, some little. It's right there at the Trump National Club. Both are tremendous facilities. It was good to see him out there, and the fans seem to enjoy it.
Kicking him off. Getting down to business. You remember Joe Biden's bike ride, Dave?
Yes. Yo.
Better than I got against Serena Williams.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure she's not playing her heart out right now, but it would be fun to watch her smoke him. But just the fact that we have a president who can do this type of PR stunt, yes, it's a PR stunt. He doesn't. I mean, he seems to be actually enjoying himself. He did not have to kick his shoes off and have a good time with that, but he seems to be enjoying himself. PR stunt, yes, but a guy who seems to just be having fun and, you know, doing a fun little press outing. What do you think, Dave?
I think it's crazy that's it. It's weird that it feels so good that a president has the ability to give a backhand swing. Like, that's so great. Oh my God! After 4 years of a guy who could barely he's lost. Like, okay, this guy actually can move on a court, and he's not afraid to. Like that there's a lot of people around.
Yeah, he could have made a total idiot of himself, and I don't think he had anybody pushing him to do that, to take that risk. It was a bit of a risk.
Remember when Fauci threw the ball at the Atlanta Braves game, and it was just like that? You could have been that guy. But at least you hit it over the fence there. What do you call it? Hit it over
the fence, whatever. Gate, net.
That little that midpoint area, whatever. The net. Yeah, thanks.
Sure. One more thing before we kick out of here, I thought was worth a mention. This is from allegedly, well, it has to be, because Donald Trump Jr. said, "It is real and it is amazing. The White House is fire." This is from the White House page of Kamala Harris's page. If you go to Kamala Harris's page on the White House website, it comes up with this. This page, 404 error. This page is unburdened by what has been. And to that, we get all of them.
Nazi fags.
All right. So
wow.
I do like that we've got a sense of humor back in the White House also, because it seemed to be a little bit lacking.
Back in the White House? I mean, other than Trump doing it.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he's the only funny president you've ever had.
Yeah, Trump had even more humor when he went in the first time than he had when he was actually in there. But it's nice to feel just a hint of 2016 Trump snark. And he doesn't seem to be all that interested in holding back anymore, Dave. And I, for one, am okay with that. Any final thoughts on all the stuff that we've been over, all the all the Trump decision-making processes, all the RFK Jr. appoint or whatever hearings. Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard. I guess we didn't even talk that much about Tulsi Gabbard. I didn't catch much of it, but I heard she crushed from people who were going to say that no matter what. So you go watch for yourself. But all of the airplanes crashing and Captain America being anti-American. Any final thoughts on any of that stuff, Dave?
I'm still white-pilled. I'm still encouraged. I'm still grateful and excited about the prospects. You know, I don't know how long this could possibly last, but and things like planes falling out of the sky, huge explosions, you know, every day it seems, you know, for multiple days in a row. That's a little disconcerting, but I feel like if things are going well, there are going to be things that come and try to stop those good things from happening. So just big picture, that's kind of where I'm at. And but I'm grateful to the administration and Angela, who we'll talk more about in the after party, and people who are trying to make the best of a shitty situation and just not have just make it better. We don't have to race to the bottom. God damn it. We can actually maybe stabilize things. That's what we should be trying to do.
Agreed, 100%. And where can people find you, Dave?
You can find me at Dissident Media and some other really great people you can also find there. And you can find me at Dave vs. Goliath 1, tweeting every once in a while. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool. You can find me at TSID Pod on the twits, at Distant Media also. I do play a bit of a role there. And the systemisdown.tv is the website. Wherever the System Is Downs are sold is just fine. Thank you all for hanging out on this beautiful Saturday morning to go over all the important stuff and unimportant stuff. And speaking of unimportant stuff, we're going to talk about some libertarian news in the after party. We're getting into Angela McArdle. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and people are mad that we haven't brought it up, so I guess we'll bring it up and we'll give you our thoughts on Angela McArdle, allegations and goodbyes. It's not all bad news. You guys got your win. She's saying goodbye, but there were some Lolbert losses, I feel like, in that goodbye that we're going to talk about as well. So lots of fun stuff over there. It's not just dogging on Angela. Angela's coming on the show soon. We'll get her take on it, but for now, we're going to give our gossip, our libertarian bullshit gossip in the after party. Go to patreon.com/The System Is Down if you want to hear that immediately following the show. I have not posted the Patreon link yet. I will post that right after we're done here. So get in there and watch it live, and we'll talk to you guys next time here if you are a freeloading piece of shit. Now, let's see. Thank you all again for hanging out. Go out, enjoy the world, and keep your eyes on the skies because it's falling down around us. And until we meet again, which hopefully will be midweek next week, question everything, stay uncomfortable, be bad, have fun, do all those things. Like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out.
Thanks for watching. Smash all the like and subscribe buttons because that's what we say at the end of videos. Good night, everybody.
This concludes our broadcast day.
This has been